I am different. Everyone is different. There are billions of different personalities in this world, yet some people must give up this distinction of their own in exchange for the acceptance from others. And for the past 5 years, I have been doing the same. I have been trying to hide myself in order to fit in the society. Today, for my talk, I'm going to disagree with a decision of mine and tell you how important it is to be yourself. But first, let me tell you a story. I used to go to a public primary school, but then for high school, my parents decided to move me into an international environment. Back at the time, I loved the English culture. And when I heard the news, I was so excited because I thought the place would be the place where people would be speaking English to each other, would respect each other, would be nice to each other. And most importantly, I thought this English environment would be the place where I would not have to study much. That was the stereotype. Well, after a few months of going to this new school, I realized that everything was the complete opposite. People weren't speaking English to each other. People weren't nice to each other. And most importantly, I was judged and bullied for the person that I was. People were calling me a nerd. And that is when I decided to put on the mask of a different personality to become a different person I tried to adapt in. And so from that point on, whenever the teacher tells me to speak English, I would rebel and speak Vietnamese. And even though I was the nicest boy a boy can possibly be, you may ask my parents, I then learned and practiced how to swear. So whenever I joined into conversations, I would be able to slide in some of those bad boys. And so people would consider me as the cool kid. And so my plan succeeded. I had tons of friends. But from that point on, I just felt something off, because every time I walk into the doors of my school, I would always have to ask myself, Hui, who do you want to be today? During those years, I put a lot of different masks on. I tried to be the cold, cool guy who would look down to people, yet expecting them to like me. I also tried the funny guy, which would be going around and tell bad jokes, but it didn't work either because they were bad jokes. Basically, I was trying a lot of different personalities, but none of them was really close to the real me. And eventually, on the way, I kind of lost myself. But I am pretty sure that a lot of you guys have experienced the same thing when you enter a new environment, whether it is a new school or a new work office, and you have to change the way you behave in order to fit in. Well, we start living by these standards of others. We start living by the standards of others, wearing all these masks, yet it contains a lot of negative consequences. Firstly, we try to fit ourselves into a society that it just isn't quite for us. And therefore, we start to meet people. We have to befriend people who are just totally different to us also. And you might argue that, these people, even though they're different to us, they share different interests, you can still hang out with them, right? Well, I say, yes, we can. But we're like artificial intelligence, like machines. We try to understand the way they talk, the way they make jokes, try to understand why those jokes are funny, but we can never truly be a part of them because it's like playing puzzles. You can't really put two pieces that don't quite go well together, right? And that is exactly the reason why, until today, I struggle from making long-term friendships, from going up to someone and say, that is my bro. Because I chose to live in an environment where people are considered as being cool, not the place where I belong. But yet I still chose to be in that environment because the place where I belong, people call it lame. And I don't want to be lame. Secondly, a study conducted by the US Institute of Health has shown that as a person's low self-esteem decreases, their stress level will also increase. And so this is reasonable, right? Because as a person, they find it harder to adapt into an environment. They will have to put on all of these masks to change their personality constantly. But this process of changing who you are is quite tiring because it's the whole process of changing what you believe, what you're interested in, your hobbies. So I ask you a question: what do we do when we feel tired, when we feel stressed out? Well, for a lot of people, they will say, I'm going to read books, watch some TED Talks, watch some YouTube. For me, I would prefer to read some memes on the social media. But for a lot of adults and young adults, they would choose to follow the path of alcohols, of abusing drugs and alcohols. Did you know that a person who experiences a lot of anxiety and stress will be 2 times more likely to become a heavy drinker or to be addicted to drugs? And these drugs, it can really give the users a lot of negative effects. This can be heart diseases, liver cancer, colon cancer, breast cancer, etc. So many diseases. And the majority of these diseases will kill you, unless you have like $1 million for your transplant. And so again, these diseases kill. But some may say that death is inevitable, that it is unpreventable. And though the phrase may convey that losing someone's life may be more relieving, they forgot to realize the pain that must come with death, that must be experienced by the people that we love the most, our parents. I love my parents. I'm sure we all love our parents, and our parents love us unconditionally. And just imagine how much pain you will put them through, seeing your own child suffer, drinking, abusing drugs, suffering every single day, just because of what? Just because we choose to follow some social stereotypes created by other people around us, just to satisfy other people. Our parents are like angels. They granted us with this life of our own, this life of your own personalities. Yet some people would choose to take this precious gift and reshape it into something else, just to satisfy other people. And thirdly, this lack of self-confidence can make people lose opportunities in life. They can miss the chances to meet new people, to explore new things. And on the bigger view, they're going to miss the chances to make their life a better place, even the world a better place. Now, I'm sure that a lot of you guys in this room has a laptop, right? Laptops have become one of the most pivotal part of almost everyone's life in this 21st century. But back in 1985, people didn't believe so. Even the New York Times, one of the most prestigious newspaper in the US, said that laptops were nowhere near to become a successful idea. Well, this is Bill Gates. You might recognize him. He's one of the he's the world's 70 most powerful people. He's one of the most successful people in this world. And just imagine what would happen if he just followed all of those critiques, those negative comments about laptops, and had given his dream up of technology. Then Microsoft wouldn't be here today. Or in fact, 78% of all computers wouldn't be here today. Now, if this is such big of a problem, then how do we deal with it? Well, as an expert in the field of having really low self-esteem and lack of confidence all the time, I tell you there are 2 most effective ways to solve this. Number 1, you have to go and seek a passion. This passion can be anything that you truly believe or something that you see beauty within, because when you find it, regardless of what other people say, you will still do it. And the key thing about this passion is that it can be anything, ranging from an Asian man running for presidential election to just taking some photos for your Instagram. Once you do this, you will learn the art of not giving a damn about what other people think, and you will eventually learn to gain yourself again. Number 2, talk about your problems. But don't just talk to anyone, talk to your parents. Talk to your parents. I believe that our parents, even though they might not be the people who understand us the most, they are the people who always see the beauty inside of us, of who we truly are. And by talking to them, you will not only feel safe and warm, you will also learn to love yourself again. You will learn that you're just so much more than just some statements made about you by some other people. And once you start to value yourself again, that is when you can become yourself again. In my case, I talked to my dad. My dad is one of the coolest people I know, and once I talked to my problems to him, he was trying to cheer me up by saying I was the coolest kid in my school. But that wasn't even my problem. But after a while, he realized it didn't quite work, and so he stopped He then shook my shoulder, and then he told me something that had changed me completely, had made myself to become me again. He said, "Son, in this world, you don't need to please everyone. You don't need to make everyone happy. Because if you do, don't be a leader, sell ice cream." No offense to the people who actually sell ice cream. And to end my speech, I would like to encourage you guys to always be yourself, to go out there and always show the world who you really are. Thank you.